heart monitor spiked, then dropped, then screamed. "Do something!" Adrian Cole's voice shattered the sterile silence as he grabbed the doctor by the collar. "You said she was stable." "Sir, you need to let go." "I said fix it." His voice cracked, raw and desperate, nothing like the controlled billionaire the world feared. Across the room, Elena lay motionless, machines blinking around her like a countdown he couldn't stop. A nurse rushed in. Another doctor followed. Commands flew. Hands moved quickly. But Adrian saw the look in their eyes. The same look he had seen in boardrooms when deals died. Hopeless. He staggered back slowly, his grip loosening. "No," he whispered. "No, no, no, not her." The machine let out a long, unbroken tone. Everything stopped. Adrian froze. For the first time in his life, money didn't move, power didn't speak, influence didn't matter, and the woman he loved slipped away. Before we continue, if this story already has you hooked, take a second to like the video, subscribe, and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Now let's go back to where it all began. Adrian Cole wasn't just rich, he was unstoppable. From the outside, he looked like a man carved from steel. Billion-dollar deals, private jets, politicians on speed dial. He built his empire from nothing, clawing his way out of poverty with ruthless precision. "Money is power," he once said in an interview, "and power fixes everything." And for years, it did. Until Elena. She didn't care about his money, didn't flinch at his cold demeanor. The first time they met, he had walked into a small cafe in a worn-out suit, long before the world knew his name. "You look like you carry the weight of 10 lives, she had said, placing his coffee in front of him. "And you look like someone who talks too much," he replied without looking up. She smiled. "Maybe. But I'm not wrong, am I?" That was the first time in years someone had spoken to him without fear. And somehow, he stayed. Years later, she became his wife, the only person who could soften his voice with a single glance. "You don't have to fight everything, Adrian," she would tell him. "If I don't, I lose," he'd reply. "Then maybe losing isn't always bad." He never understood that, not until it was too late. It started small. A cough, fatigue, moments where she would pause mid-sentence as if her body forgot how to keep up. "You should rest," Adrian said one evening, watching her struggle to climb the stairs. "I'm fine," she smiled weakly. "Just tired." "You're never just tired," he insisted. "We're going to the hospital tomorrow." She hesitated, just for a second, then nodded. The next day changed everything. The doctor cleared his throat, avoiding eye contact. "There's no easy way to say this." Adrian leaned forward, impatient. "Then don't make it complicated. Say it. It's a rare condition. Aggressive. We caught it late." Silence. Adrian blinked. "So treat it." The doctor inhaled slowly. "We can try to manage symptoms, but what?" "There is no known cure." Adrian laughed. Actually, I laughed. Then he stood up. "Do you know who I am?" "Yes, sir." "Then you know I don't accept the impossible." He turned to his assistant immediately. "Get me the best specialists in the world. I don't care where they are. Fly them in. Today." "Sir? Some of them?" "I said today?" Within hours, the hospital floor transformed into something else entirely. Private teams arrived, equipment upgraded. Experts from across the globe stood at Elena's bedside. Adrian watched them all, arms crossed, eyes sharp. Fix her. Days turned into weeks. Treatments began, experimental drugs, cutting-edge procedures. Every time a doctor hesitated, Adrian pushed harder. "Try something else." Then try more." "But, Elena," she was getting weaker. "Adrian," she whispered one night, her voice barely audible. He rushed to her side. "I'm here. Sit with me." "I am sitting." "No," she smiled faintly. "You're planning, thinking, fixing." He took her hand, gripping it tightly. I'm saving you. She shook her head slowly. You're trying to. I will. Adrian. Don't say that, he snapped, his voice breaking. Don't talk like that. She looked at him, really looked at him, and for the first time, he felt small. You're not God, she said gently. I don't need to be, he replied. I just need time. But time was the one thing slipping through his fingers, and he still didn't understand why no amount of money could hold it still. Adrian didn't sleep anymore. Every night, blurred into the next, spent pacing hospital corridors, barking orders into his phone, signing approvals without reading them. His empire continued running in the background, but he wasn't there, not really. All that mattered now was Elena. Sir, you need to rest, his assistant whispered one morning, cautiously stepping beside him. I'll rest when she's better, Adrian muttered, eyes fixed on the glass window separating him from her room. Inside, Elena lay still, her body thinner, her skin pale. Machines breathed where she could not. A doctor approached, hesitant. Mr. Cole, we need to talk. Adrian didn't turn. If this is another "we're doing our best" speech, save it. It's about the treatment. Then say something useful. The doctor exhaled. Her body isn't responding. In fact, it's rejecting most of what we're giving her. Adrian finally looked at him, slowly, dangerously. Then, you adjust the treatment. We've tried multiple combinations. Try more. There are limits. There are no limits, Adrian snapped, his voice echoing through the hallway. Not with the resources you have, not with the money I'm putting into this. It's not about money. Adrian grabbed his collar again, rage boiling over. Everything is about money. The hallway went silent. A nurse froze mid-step. His assistant looked away. The doctor gently pried Adrian's hand off him. Sir, I understand you're desperate, but this isn't something you can buy your way out of. Adrian stepped back, breathing hard. For a moment, just a moment, doubt flickered in his eyes. Then it vanished. Get out, he said coldly, and send someone who knows what they're doing. The doctor left, but his words lingered. That evening, Adrian escalated everything. Contact the lab in Switzerland, he ordered over the phone. Yes, the one working on gene therapy. Sir, that trial hasn't been approved. I'll get it approved. It could take months, then move it to days. He hung up, already dialing someone else. Minister, I need a favor. One call turned into 10. 10 turned into 20. By midnight, he had pulled strings across continents, if there was even a 1% chance he would find it. Inside the room, Elena watched him through half-open eyes. He didn't notice. The next morning, a new team arrived. Different accents, different equipment, new hope. We've reviewed her case, one of them said. There is an experimental approach. It's risky and it hasn't been fully tested on cases this advanced. Adrian leaned forward. What are the chances? The doctor hesitated. Low. How low? Less than 10%. Adrian didn't blink. Do it. Sir, we need consent, and she needs to understand the risks. She'll sign. I want to hear it from her. Adrian turned immediately, walking into the room. Elena, he said softly, forcing a smile. Good news. She looked at him, her gaze calm, almost too calm. There's a new treatment, he continued. It's going to work. She studied his face. Another one? This one is different. They're all different, she whispered. This one will save you. She closed her eyes briefly, as if gathering strength. What are the risks? Adrian hesitated. Adrian, she pressed, her voice firmer than before. What are the risks? He exhaled. It's aggressive, but you're strong. That's not what I asked. He looked away for a second. There's a chance your body might not handle it. How big of a chance? He didn't answer. She smiled faintly. That big, huh? Elena, listen to me, he said quickly. This is our shot. Our? She echoed softly. Yes, we will fight this together. She shook her head slowly. I'm tired, Adrian. No, you're not. I am. You just need this treatment. I don't want it. The words hit him like a slap. What? I don't want it, she repeated, her voice steady. Adrian stared at her, disbelief turning into frustration. You don't mean that. I do. You're scared, he said quickly. That's normal. I'm not scared of dying, she interrupted. He froze. I'm scared of losing what little time I have left to machines, pain, and false hope. Adrian's jaw tightened. This isn't false hope. It is, she said gently. For me. For you? He snapped. What about me? Silence filled the room. What about me, Elena? His voice broke. You think I can just sit here and watch you die? I think you don't know how to do anything else but fight, she replied. Because fighting is how you survive. Not everything is meant to be fought. He stepped back, shaking his head. No, I'm not accepting that. You don't have to, she said softly. But I do. He turned away, running his hand through his hair. I didn't build everything I have just to lose you like this. You're not losing me, she whispered. He laughed bitterly. What do you call this then? She didn't answer, because there was no answer he was ready to hear. Later that night, Adrian sat alone in his office inside the hospital. Files covered the desk, reports, data, options. But none of it made sense anymore. His phone buzzed. Sir, his assistant said, the team is ready to proceed. They're just waiting for your final approval. Adrian stared at the papers in front of him, then at the glass window across the room. Elena was sleeping, peacefully, for once without pain on her face. His grip on the phone tightened. Prepare everything, he said quietly. Sir, does she consent? Adrian's silence said everything. Sir, legally. I said prepare everything. He hung up. For the first time, he chose control over her choice. And deep down, something in him knew he might be saving her body, but losing her trust forever. Morning came with tension thick enough to choke on. Ellen awoke to unfamiliar voices, sharper lights, and a new set of machines being wheeled into her room. What's going on? She asked weakly, trying to sit up. A nurse gently stopped her. Please, ma'am, just stay still. Her eyes searched the room. Where's Adrian? As if summoned, he walked in calm, composed, controlled. Too controlled. What is this? She asked, her voice trembling. He stepped closer. It's the new treatment. Her expression changed instantly. Adrian, I said no. It's our only option. It's not my choice? She asked, her voice rising despite her weakness. It's the only way to save you. I don't want to be saved like this, she cried, tears forming. Why won't you listen to me? Because you're not thinking clearly, he shot back. You're giving up. I'm choosing peace, she replied, her voice breaking. Why can't you respect that? Because I love you, he yelled. Silence. Heavy, crushing silence. Elena stared at him, hurt flashing across her face. If you loved me, you'd let me go the way I want. He looked away, jaw tight. I'm not letting you die. You already are, she whispered. The doctors exchanged uneasy glances. Mr. Cole, one of them said carefully, we need to proceed now if we're doing this. Elena shook her head, panic rising. No, no, please. Adrian closed his eyes for a brief second, then nodded. Do it. No. Elena's voice cracked as they gently restrained her. Adrian, please, don't do this. Her eyes locked onto his. Desperate, hurt, betrayed. But he didn't move. He couldn't. I'm doing this for you, he said, though his voice no longer sounded convincing. Tears slid down her face as the sedative entered her veins. Her body slowly relaxed, but her eyes stayed on him until the very last second. Then they closed, and the silence that followed was louder than any scream. The procedure began immediately. Machines hummed, numbers fluctuated, doctors moved with precision. Adrian stood behind the glass, watching every second. Vitals dropping. Stabilize her. Administer the compound. Minutes felt like hours. Heart rate irregular. Adjust dosage. Adrian's breathing grew uneven. What's happening? Complications, someone muttered. You said you could handle this. We're trying. The monitor spiked suddenly, then dipped. Come on, Adrian whispered under his breath. Come on, Elena. Fight. But inside that room, she wasn't fighting anymore. Her body reacted violently. Alarms rang. Cardiac arrest. Clear. Her body jolted. Adrian flinched. Again. Clear. Nothing. Come on. Again. Clear. The monitor flickered, then flatlined for a split second before stuttering back. A fragile rhythm returned. She's back, a doctor said quickly, though his tone held no relief. Adrian exhaled sharply, gripping the edge of the glass, but the fight wasn't over. Hours passed. The procedure ended. But Elena never woke up. She's in a coma, the lead doctor explained later, exhaustion etched across his face. Adrian stood still. Temporary. The doctor hesitated. We don't know. You said this could work. We said it was a chance. And I paid for that chance, Adrian snapped. So fix it. We can't force her body to recover. Then what was the point? He shouted, slamming his hand against the wall. The doctor didn't answer, because there was nothing left to say. Days turned into a blur. Elena remained still. No movement, no response, just machines keeping her alive. Adrian rarely left her side now. Gone were the endless phone calls, the meetings, the orders. Now it was just him and her. You're going to wake up, he whispered one night, holding her hand gently. You have to. No response. I know you're mad at me, he continued, his voice softer than it had ever been. But I couldn't just do nothing. Silence. You don't understand what it's like to feel this helpless, he admitted. His grip tightened slightly. I've controlled everything my entire life, every outcome, every risk. His voice cracked. But this, he swallowed hard. This is killing me. A tear slid down his cheek. I thought if I just tried harder and pushed more, I could beat it. He laughed weakly. I was wrong, wasn't I? The machines answered for her, steady, unchanging. Days later, a nurse approached him cautiously. Sir, there's something you should see. Adrian looked up, exhausted. What? It's something we found among her personal belongings. Reluctantly, he followed. They handed him a small envelope. His name was written on it, in her handwriting. His fingers trembled slightly as he opened it. Inside was a letter. He unfolded it slowly and began to read. Adrian, if you're reading this, it means things didn't go the way you wanted. And I'm sorry for that. I know you're trying to save me. That's who you are. You fix things. You fight. You win. But this isn't something you can win. I've known about this illness for a while now. I didn't tell you because I wanted to live the time I had left without fear, without turning our life into a battlefield. You gave me a beautiful life, Adrian, more than I ever asked for. But the moments I loved most had nothing to do with your money. It was a quiet morning, simple conversations, the times you forgot to be a billionaire and were just you. That's the man I fell in love with, not the one fighting the world. Please don't spend my last days fighting something that can't be changed. Spend them loving me instead. And when I'm gone, don't build more walls, don't chase more control, just live for both of us. I love you. Always. Elena. By the time he finished reading, his vision was blurred. His hands were shaking. And for the first time, Adrian Cole realized something devastating. He hadn't been saving her. He had been running from the truth. And in doing so, he had taken away the one thing she truly wanted: peace. Adrian didn't move for a long time. The letter remained in his hands, slightly crumpled from the way his fingers tightened around it. For once there were no calls to make, no one to command, no deal to close, just silence and the weight of what he had done. Slowly, he walked back to her room. Each step felt heavier than the last. When he entered, nothing had changed. The same machines, the same steady rhythm, the same still body lying on the bed. But everything feels different now. He pulled a chair closer and sat down beside her. Elena. His voice was barely above a whisper. No response. I read your letter. His eyes lingered on her face, searching for any sign she could hear him. I didn't know, he said, though the words felt empty even to him. Or maybe I didn't want to know. He let out a shaky breath. You asked me to stop fighting, he continued, to just be with you. A tear rolled down his cheek, and I couldn't do it. His voice broke. I was so afraid of losing you, that I forced you into something you didn't want. He looked down at their hands, his gripping hers, hers lying still. I thought I was saving you, he whispered, but I was saving myself from the pain of letting go. Silence filled the room again, but this time it wasn't empty. It was heavy with truth. I'm sorry, he said, his voice trembling. I'm so sorry. For the first time in days, he didn't talk about treatments, or hope, or solutions. He just sat there, present the way she had asked. Hours passed, then night fell, and still he stayed. The next morning, the doctor entered quietly. Mr. Cole? Adrian didn't turn. Don't. The doctor hesitated. Her condition isn't improving. I know. We need to discuss next steps. Adrian closed his eyes briefly. There are no next steps, he said. The doctor paused. Are you saying? I'm saying no more procedures, no more machines keeping her here for my sake. The words were heavy, but they were real. The doctor nodded slowly. We'll make her comfortable. Adrian finally looked at him. Will she feel pain? No, the doctor assured gently. She'll be at peace. At peace. The words echoed in his mind. That's all she ever wanted. Then do it, Adrian said quietly. Arrangements were made. Machines that once screamed urgency were slowly silenced. The room became calm, still, human again. Adrian sat beside her, holding her hand like he should have all along. I'm here, he whispered. No more fighting. His thumb brushed gently against her fingers. You were right, he admitted, about everything. He let out a soft, broken laugh. I spent my whole life believing I could control everything, that if I had enough money, enough power, nothing could be taken from me. He shook his head slowly. But you, his voice cracked. You were never something to control. You were something to love. A tear fell onto her hand. And I forgot that. The machines now were quiet, minimal, just enough to ease her passing. He leaned closer. If you can hear me, I need you to know something. His voice softened even more. You were the only real thing in my life. Silence. And I would give up everything, every dollar, every company, every piece of power I have, just to go back and sit with you one more morning without trying to fix anything. His breathing became uneven. I finally understand what you meant. He pressed his forehead gently against her hand. Time was the only thing that mattered. Minutes passed, then an hour, then another. And then the faint rhythm on the monitor began to slow. Adrian noticed immediately. His grip tightened slightly. Elena. No response. The rhythm slowed again. He stood up, Panic flickering, but this time he didn't call for help. He didn't shout. He didn't fight. He just stepped closer. "I'm here," he whispered. "You're not alone." The line on the monitor stretched. Pause. Then I moved again, slower, weaker. And then it stopped. A long, steady tone filled the room. Adrian closed his eyes, his head lowered, and for the first time, he didn't resist it. He let the moment exist. He let her go. Weeks passed. The world expected Adrian Cole to return stronger, colder, even more driven. But when he finally stepped back into public view, he wasn't the same man. The sharp edge in his voice was gone. The constant urgency was replaced with something quieter. "Mr. Cole, is it true you've shut down 3 of your major projects?" a reporter asked. "Yes." "Why?" He paused briefly. "They no longer matter." The answer stunned everyone. "Are you planning new investments?" another asked quickly. "Yes," Adrian replied. "What kind?" He looked directly at the cameras, ones that actually help people. Months later, the world began to see what that meant. Hospitals, free ones, built in places no billionaire had ever cared to look, fully funded, fully staffed, no cost, no conditions. One of them bore a name at the entrance, Elena Care Center. Inside, patients who couldn't afford treatment were given a chance. Real care, real time. The kind Adrian once tried to buy, but now chose to give. One evening, he walked through one of the hospitals quietly. No cameras, no press, just him. A young nurse approached him nervously. "Sir, I just wanted to say thank you. What you've done here, it's changing lives." Adrian gave a small nod. "I'm just doing what I should have done a long time ago." She hesitated. "If you don't mind me asking, why now?" He looked around the room, at the patients, at the families sitting beside them, holding hands, being present. A faint, sad smile touched his lips. "Because I learned too late what really matters." That night, he returned home. For the first time in months, the house felt empty, quiet, but not unbearable. He walked slowly into the living room and picked up a photo frame, him and Elena, smiling, happy. Before everything changed, he sat down, staring at it. "You got your wish," he said softly. "I stopped fighting." A pause. "I just wish I'd done it sooner." He leaned back, exhaling slowly. "And if anyone ever asks me what wealth truly is," his eyes remained fixed on her picture, "I'll tell them it's time." He placed the frame gently beside him. "And love." Silence filled the room. But this time, it wasn't heavy. It was peaceful. Before this story ends, if it touched you in any way, take a moment to like the video, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. And tell me, where are you watching from? Because sometimes stories like this remind us of something we forget too easily. You can have everything in the world and still lose what matters most.